Here's a hot topic that often ignites controversy: violence in video games, or rather the relationship between video games and violent behaviour. Titles like Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto have repeatedly been blamed for aggression, with some media outlets and politicians calling for immediate censorship. But is there truly a connection between these games and real-life aggression? Statistics reveal a surprising truth. What does current science say about this link, and how might this change what we believe about the impact of video games? Let's find out. The idea that video games incite violence dates back to the 1990s, when titles such as Mortal Kombat and Doom began to gain popularity. These games feature graphic images of extreme violence for the first time, raising significant public concern and attracting media attention.
Some video games have been coming under fire for being too violent.
News outlets began to promote the idea that violent video games could desensitize players and normalize violence. This marked the beginning of a cultural perception that, although misguided, has persisted over the years. The debate intensified after tragedies such as the Columbine massacre in 1999, when it was revealed that the perpetrators had frequently played violent video games such as Doom. The connection was almost immediate. It was assumed that video games were partly to blame for influencing their behaviour. This laid the groundwork for a narrative that has been invoked every time there's been an act of violence involving young people. Media and politicians were quick to fuel this fear, using these games as a scapegoat for youth violence. Sensationalist headlines reinforced the narrative, and soon the public began to accept the idea that violent video games were a real problem. As a result, the relationship between violence and video games became embedded in the collective consciousness. The rise of the internet and social media has accelerated the spread of these concerns as well, as people around the world shared stories and fears about how these games might be affecting young people. So why is this believed to be a fact? One of the most prominent examples of this phenomenon is the Grand Theft Auto series, which has been the centre of much controversy due to its themes of violence, crime and antisocial behaviour. First released in 1997, GTA allows players to engage in criminal activities. You can steal cars and shoot civilians, making it the perfect target for those seeking a scapegoat for youth violence. Over the years, GTA has been mentioned in several legal cases, with parents, lawyers and even authorities blaming the game for violent behaviour among young people. In one notorious case in 2003, Devin Moore, a 17-year-old in Alabama, was arrested after killing 3 police officers and stealing a patrol car. Moore claimed to be influenced by GTA, which intensified the debate around the link between video games and violence. Such associations have been echoed by the media, which often cite individual cases without looking at the wider context or underlying causes of violence. Rather than considering larger factors such as mental health issues, difficult family situations, or access to firearms, video games have been presented as simplistic explanations for complex behaviour. In addition, sensationalist headlines often exacerbate public fears, reinforcing the narrative that games like GTA are directly linked to real-life violence. And this has led to a widespread perception that violent video games are a significant contributor to social problems, despite a lack of conclusive evidence to support such claims. So what's the real truth, and what research supports it? Contrary to popular belief, the link between violent video games and real-life violence has been debunked by several scientific studies. In fact, research shows the opposite. Violent video games do not increase long-term aggression. A 2015 meta-analysis by the American Psychological Association concluded that there is insufficient evidence to prove that violent video games lead to significant aggressive behaviour in players. And a 2020 study by the University of Oxford analysed data from over 1,000 adolescents and their parents to assess whether there is a correlation between time spent playing video games and real-life aggression. The results were clear. No significant relationship was found between the two factors. This study is consistent with other research suggesting that playing video games may serve as a form of catharsis, allowing players to vent frustration and aggressive impulses in a controlled environment rather than real life. Furthermore, a comprehensive study published in 2021 examined trends in youth violence over the past 2 decades and found that while video game use has increased, the rate of violent crime among young people has decreased significantly. This trend contradicts the assumption that exposure to violent games leads to real-world aggression. Instead, it suggests that other societal factors such as improved mental health resources and community programs may play a more important role in reducing violence among young people. The existing evidence suggests that fears about violent video games are largely unfounded, and continued research in this area is essential to develop a more nuanced understanding of the impact of video games on behaviour and to enable a more informed discussion about their place in society. So what does this mean for the future? With the rise of esports and gamification in education, video games are positioning themselves as powerful tools among multiple sectors. If we can move beyond the belief that video games are harmful, we may see a deeper integration of video games into everyday life. From education to therapeutic rehabilitation, it's also likely that calls for censorship and stricter regulation will diminish. While concerns about violent video games has been high in the past, recent data should help lawmakers to make more informed decisions. Evidence-based policies, rather than those driven by fear, could pave the way for video games to evolve without the constraints of moral panic. The future may see a greater cultural acceptance of video games, not just for entertainment, but as a powerful medium for storytelling, emotional exploration, and connecting people in ways never before possible. By embracing this change, we open the door to a more inclusive and innovative approach to the role of video games in our society. Now, do you think video games really cause violence? Of course you don't. I don't think you'd be on this video if you did. But comment below on your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button, and I'll see you next time. Bye!